Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lost Boyz Podcast. This is episode 49, week 49, aka in 3 weeks is 1 year. We're almost at 100 subscribers, so please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, because we really want 100 subscribers for that week 52, which is coming up in only 3 weeks. So please get us there.
Get us there.
With that being said, we're going to jump right into it today. We got an interesting one today. I guess a hot topic, you could call it. And you probably know it by the title now, but we're going to be talking about masculine men with feminine emotions. And to just kind of give a brief breakdown of what I mean by that before we dive deeper into it. What I mean is somebody who is very, I guess, embodies masculine traits, like of being, the tough, protective, can provide, protect, all these things that you expect a man to do, be strong, etc. But when it comes down to their emotions, they're very sensitive and they're very vulnerable emotionally, meaning they get triggered quickly. So they get angry fast. They get their feelings hurt fast. They make dumb decisions out of just randomness. Well, not randomness, but just because their feelings were hurt, which is stupid. But anyways,
So just to give you an example of what we mean by that is like, imagine a grown-ass man throwing a temper tantrum.
Exactly.
Which happens way more often than we think.
Yeah, it's extremely prevalent, especially if you just look at, I'm kind of jumping the gun a little, but we're going to end up getting back on this topic. But if you just look at the amount of men incarcerated, that tells you all you need to know.
Mm-hmm.
They're not incarcerated because they did something that was, they did something bad, but why they're actually incarcerated is because they had no control over their emotions. Bottom line is what it is.
It's true. So to bring this back to the top, right, before we start jumping into the gun of like people incarcerated and everything like that, what do we mean by like just, what was it? Female tendencies?
Female emotions,
right? So if you're a guy and you've ever been mad, or if you're a guy and you've never been mad, right? You're the one in a million, right? But when you're mad, all right, what do you feel, right? You
Rage.
have way more energy. You feel stronger. You feel like nothing can fuck with you when you're mad, right? That's not the issue, actually. We have that biologically for a reason, right? The issue comes when we talk about the female way of handling emotions, meaning you don't think about your actions. You let out your aggression, number one, which there's calculated ways to do so. Punching a wall is not one of them, and God forbid punching somebody else is not one of them either, right? So when we say how you're like handling your emotions in this way, yeah, this is about to like blow up.
Okay, I was smelling.
It's literally smoke coming out of it.
I was smelling something.
Yeah, no, I don't know what, but it's like it started smoking, so I just unplugged it.
Yeah.
If we die, we die. Imagine, not imagine, not going. But not so. Many people have this rage inside of them and don't know how to actually handle it, what to do with it, or where it even stems from, and thus causing people to act out a certain way. And on one end of the spectrum, it could just be acting out like fucking crying or something like that, right? The other extreme end of the spectrum is like those people you mentioned, the people incarcerated, the people who kill people, the people who've assaulted people, or, just wild shit like that. The two are very similar. They just chose different, what's the term I want to use here? Acts to go about their tantrum.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a good way to just, before go into this, is just to kind of talk more about like where it even stems from, how it even comes about. And before I even say that, because I know somebody's probably going to take it the wrong way and get offended, say, what, females don't know how to control their emotions? No, they don't.
No.
You ever get your mom tight? The first thing she does is start cursing you out. You get your
with
dad tight.
74 different names.
Yeah, for your dad to get tight, it takes a little while. It takes a little longer. Your mom takes like 0.05 seconds. But anyways, I think a lot of it stems from people growing up in single mother households, single parent households, predominantly meaning the mothers around. Just because if you grow up seeing how a woman reacts to her emotions, you think naturally that is the normal thing to do, because that is how women naturally just are. For them, that's normal. However, for men, it's not. That's not how we typically go about things. And even if you do grow up in a 2-parent household, if the father is a hothead, then you grow up a hothead as well too. So you can see it in either one, but it's more prevalent in single parent households where it's just a mom and it's a single mom. That's also why the majority of people incarcerated come from single parent households where they only are with their mom, if the mom's even around at that. So I think that's where the whole basis of everything just comes from. Like the whole acting off the emotions and everything, it just stems from that.
Yeah, I agree. Because take that single parent household, right? I always use this example. You can have, as a little boy, right? You can have the greatest mother in the world, but she cannot teach you how to aim when you piss, right?
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't have a penis. She also does not have that male anger. And male anger and female anger, two very different things. Women usually resort to breaking down and crying. Guys usually resort to fucking destruction.
Yeah.
All of history, literally all of history, is men acting out of anger and, oh, they crossed this line, I'm tight about it, destroys their entire village.
Yeah.
So understand, like, and I'm speaking in a very extreme sense, but it's very difficult to teach somebody how to control something that you yourself do not understand.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's the common thing? Like, oh, like, put it towards something good, right? Like that's the advice I got as a kid, which is like, you're tight. Like, what the fuck is something good to put this towards? Like, I want to punch something right now. Like,
yeah.
So, which I don't know if it's too early if you want to start jumping into like things you can do when you're tight.
Yeah. We can get to that in a little bit.
So, essentially, it's very difficult to help somebody maneuver, like I just said, maneuver something that you yourself don't understand. And then that dives deeper into like, start thinking about how many households genuinely don't have a stable father figure.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one at all.
Yeah. And it goes, I mean, it could go way deeper if I go into statistics and everything when it comes to like just studies done by U.S. departments that you can Google and find for yourself. But like even when you look at it, okay, yes, the majority of criminals come from single parent households where the mother's there. So off the bat, they're experiencing female emotions their entire life and seeing it and acting upon it. And number two, the majority of domestic violence towards children come from single parent households where only the mother is around. And they tried doing the study for fathers, but there just weren't enough of them. So the study was irrelevant. They threw it out. But that also plays a factor because you see, okay, my mom got angry and she just beat the shit out of me. So now I'm angry, but I'm not going to hit my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So the minute somebody else tries me on the street, I'm going to fuck them up.
Yep.
Because that's literally what they're seeing in their own house. In my house, I see my mom get angry like this, and then she beats me up. So then I'm going to go outside and do the same exact thing. Oh, he got me angry. That's why I fought him. What?
You're taking the 1 + 1 and you're applying it to yourself.
Yeah, you act upon what you see.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's all you see, then that's what you're going to act upon. And that's why so many people get in trouble and do dumb things. And you see like people that are hotheads and stuff. It's like, I see somebody who's a hothead and I'm like, this person just doesn't get it. They can't see the bigger picture. it's going over their head.
Mm-hmm.
That's not somebody I want to be around. Sure, if I need to, like, if I was like a mob member and I needed somebody to do a hit, that's why they got the wise guys, the ones that go and do the hits, but they're not actually part of the crime family for a reason, because they understand they act off their emotion too much and they're hotheads. You can't trust them.
They're a liability.
Exactly. So you have somebody in your crew, hire them to get it done, but they're not actually part of your crew. And
Mafia game 101.
yeah, literally it's a perfect example of how it plays out, how they can understand difference between knowing when to act out on the emotion and when to pull back, how to delay it, how to strategize it if you are going to like, there's so much more you can do, but when you act out in that moment, that's when nothing good happens.
It's true. Like, I also like saying this too. I forgot who said it. I want to say it was Seneca, but it's like a man who cannot control himself when he is angry is actually weak.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how strong you think you are when you're tight and you can break walls and fuck people up. At the end of the day, if you can't control yourself when you're angry, or you can't control your anger, you're weak. Because if I know that if I talk about his whatever, his physique or something, that it's gonna get him tight, I can manipulate the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
I can literally control you. And it's that simple. So if I know, all right, if I just say this to him, he's going to act out. He's going to maybe do something stupid, or he's going to attack me or something like that and really fuck shit up for himself. Oh, I can control you. I can literally make you do whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I always say, like, you have to live life. You can't let life live you. And if you can't control your emotions, then life is living you. And other people are living the life for you. Mm-hmm. Because if I, like you said, if I know I say something to you, you're going to go in a fucking rage and just destroy everything in your sight. And I'm going to sit back and laugh like, look at this dumbass. Mm-hmm. Then I control you. I have full control over your life. You can pretend you're this big tough guy, pretend that you're a killer, this and that. You probably are a killer, this and that.
Mm-hmm.
But I control you. So if at any point I decide, I think it's time for him to go to jail, all I got to do is get you angry, and then mm-hmm. you're going to end up in jail. And that's it. It's that simple. It's very simple to manipulate you.
Look, and to the everyday person, this may sound like maniacal. This may sound crazy. It may sound dumb, right? But don't underestimate people. Like, if life hasn't taught you anything, however many years you've been alive at the moment that you're watching this episode, if life hasn't shown you not to underestimate people, then, like, you must be living a great life. Like, shit must be sweet.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, and so this is a side note, tip to my guys, girls are the greatest manipulators of all time. They imagine they have a natural gift for manipulation. For a reason, but women manipulate like masters, mm-hmm. right? Anyways, that's why books like the 48 Laws of Power, right, or The Art of Seduction, like the Robert Greene series, right, mm-hmm. are so popular, is because when you check out these books and you read them, you start realizing, like, you start realizing in your own life, oh shit, that makes sense there. Oh, what the fuck? Like, wait a minute. Because, and I'm not saying everybody's sitting there like, oh, let me do this so that person does that. No. But you develop social habits that are manipulative. For example, let me not. Read the 48 Laws of Power. I was about to start going on a tangent on being toxic.
Yeah. No, but just taking it back to like the whole male masculinity with female emotions, that's literally everybody in prison. Mm-hmm. If not everybody, the vast majority of people in prison are in jail because they're masculine men. They'll fuck you up. They'll shoot you. They'll kill you. But they're there because they have female emotions. They're there because they don't understand how to control those emotions. They don't understand that if they just decided to just not do it, how much different their life would be. Yeah. If they understood that there's a time and place for everything, life would be so much different. Granted, no one's perfect, right? You're going to have moments where you just snap, right? We're human, so we're susceptible to human error. Mm-hmm. But it's controlling as much of those moments as possible so that we don't end up in that situation. Because sometimes it is necessary to then act off the emotion and do something aggressively. Well, I shouldn't say act off the emotion, but make an assessment based off the emotion you feel to see if it makes logical sense, then past the emotion to then act upon it. Right? Because if somebody's pressing me in the street or calling me names, I'm gonna just keep walking. Now, if somebody tries swinging on me in the street, that's completely fucking different now. Now it's a logical reason to fight back, you know? But just because I walk out the store and a homeless man calls me a bitch, then all of a sudden I'm trying to fight a homeless man. It's like, dude, you're soft. You're soft. I don't care how hard you think you are, you're soft.
It's true.
You have no control.
At the end of the day, that homeless man has more to gain than you.
Yeah, facts. He goes to jail, he's going to get fed 3 times a day. He has a bed to sleep on, a shower, free healthcare.
Like, but nah, the jokes aside, it's true. Like, you're weak. You are jeopardizing you more than you really think. And sometimes you get lucky, right? You act out of emotion and nothing happens. But just because nothing happened doesn't mean you succeeded. At the end of the day, that's like, I look at all the times I've acted out of emotion and I'm just like, wow, I feel like a fucking clown. Like, I look back at it and I'm like, damn, obviously there are lessons. You look back and it's like, oh my God, like that had to happen for me to have this realization and shit like that. But I look back and I was like, certain things could have gone so wrong, right? Damn, the smell of that just like fucking bodied my shit. I was like, ugh. But no, you can't always rely on the consequence, because sometimes the consequence doesn't come. But that does not mean there's nothing to work on. Absolutely should be looking back and thinking like, damn, like I do this till this day. Like, maybe that wasn't the best decision. And then I also look back at there's times where I've had the want to like, yeah, I'm sick of this person and maybe like do some dumb shit. And every time that I haven't done it, I've never been like, oh, I wish I did.
Yeah.
It's always been like, yo, thank God I didn't. Thank God I stepped away or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always try to do that, especially when I'm out. Like if I'm at a bar or something, I always try to de-escalate first for that reason, because what good comes out of me acting out on the emotion, or anyone around me acting out on the emotion? Because the thing is, I may have really good control of my emotions, but if I surround myself with people who don't, they're going to drag me into their bullshit, because they're not going to be able to control their emotions and can't understand what's going on. And then they give the person the reaction that they wanted from them already. So now you've already lost that battle. And if, let's say, you get into a fight, now I have to get into the fight because you're fighting over some stupid shit, over somebody you don't even know, who you've never seen in your life. For what? For what? If you just let it go, guess what? Everybody goes in the car.
Yep.
We get in the Uber, go home, go to our house, we eat, sleep on our bed like normal. We wake up the next day. Life's good. Life's great. Everything's fine. Shit's normal. That's it. We forgot about yesterday.
Look, so true. Especially like looking back at like the moments we've been in, where it's just like, if you're ever out and let's say you're like at that bar or you're at that club and there's a situation like that, like, yo, you might think this sounds like, oh, like soft and shit, but you could literally get up and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And it's like, unless you're like physically being threatened, like they're really pushing on you and like now you have to defend yourself, that's one thing. But that's the key, is de-escalating as much as you possibly can. And one of the ways of de-escalating is literally just walking away.
Yep.
You always have the option to walk away.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what do you have to prove, right? Don't get me wrong. We're human. We make human errors. I've been there. But overall, I mean, if you walk away, what do you lose? Some fucking stranger you never met before in your life thinks you're a bitch? Who cares? Do you think you're a bitch? No? So then that's it. If you think yourself to be a bitch, then you're going to be offended by it. So if you're offended by somebody calling you a bitch or pussy, well, then it's probably because you are. Because if you understand that you're not, you can be like, okay, dude, have your fun saying your words.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. My life's great. You think I care?
Nothing to prove.
Cool, I'm a pussy. Good for you. Have a great day.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. And you just keep it pushing. And life goes on.
And look, something that doesn't make sense until you see it or live it, that person that's trying to prove that he's not a pussy, right, ends up looking more like a clown for fighting than the guy who just does that and just like, you know what, whatever, cool, walk away. People actually respect the fuck out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people look at it and just like, yo, like to me, that's a badass right there. So,
Yeah.
Like, staying composed when there's pressure.
Yeah. If I was somebody who's emotional, the last thing I would want if I'm challenging somebody to a fight is to see them calm as fuck, just like pull off their watch, put it down, put this shit down. It's like, okay, come on, let's go, let's do this. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? This motherfucker knows something that I don't.
Like,
that's the last thing I want to see.
When someone is so unfazed.
Yeah. It's like, nah, this is the person that'll probably kill you. But no, yeah. Just like, I don't know. Maybe this is going to sound a little evil, but I'm going to speak for me personally,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I've never been somebody to act out on emotion. Like, I can have the feeling of the emotion, but I can also be conscious of it and self-aware where in my head, in the moment, I can talk myself out of it. Or if I need to, I can put on the front that I'm feeling this way, even though in my head I'm having
Mm-hmm.
a completely different conversation with myself, showing that I'm not. And the difference for me is like, okay, you do something right now, I may get triggered by it, but I may not react emotionally. You may think, he's a pussy, I got him, or whatever. But then when you're not looking, or when you forget about it, then that's when I come. So I don't act on the emotion at the moment, but sometimes I'll plot.
Yeah.
And if it makes logical sense, by the time I'm done making my plot, I'll either decide, okay, it's worth it or it's not.
Yeah.
And if it's worth it, then it's going to happen when you least expect it.
If at that point it is still worth it.
Yeah.
It's a slow burn.
Yeah. But it's so dumb. Another example, too, where you see like stupidity with over emotions like that is road rage. Like, people literally die over the fact that somebody cut them off.
Yeah. Yo.
That is the dumbest thing in the fucking world. Oh, he cut me off. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got out the car and beat him up and almost killed him? Yeah. Nice.
Look.
How's life behind bars now, buddy?
I don't know if it still is, but the last time I looked this up, which was probably like 2 years ago, I believe road rage was the number one cause of homicide in the United States.
That's crazy.
Think about it. More than domestic violence, suicide, everything like that. Number one cause of homicide is motherfuckers tight that they got cut off on the highway or some shit like that.
Yeah. That shit's stupid. Like, I can get angry at something because somebody does something stupid. Or I fucking hate when people are, like, swerving in and out of lanes, flying down the highway. That gets me tight. I'm not going to go chasing after them. Like, this motherfucker. Honking at them. In my car, I'll just be like, fucking asshole. And then that's it. I keep driving. And then I drive to my destination. I get out the car. Life's great. Life's fine. I record the podcast. I go back home, sleep in my bed, eat, chill. Life's good. That's it. It's over. It's over. I didn't let those 2 seconds that got me angry dictate the rest of my life in a negative way, because I understand how to control my emotions.
And once you understand how to control them, it's so easy to get over shit.
Yeah, then you could control your life.
It's true. Oh, that's a bar. Because that is when you take control.
Yep. Once you could control your emotions, you could control your life. Simple as that. If you can't control your emotions, you have zero control over your life. I think like a really good way to get better at controlling it is to just practice stoicism. I feel like for me, I've always been stoic naturally. Like, a lot of things I've done just natural, and then now that I'm older, it makes sense more because I understand it now. But I always just kind of did it. But having put it to use my entire life, I can tell you it definitely works. So I would recommend definitely practicing stoicism. Listen to like Marcus Aurelius. You can read his book, Meditations. Listen to Seneca. Like, all these philosophers, they say things that apply to today, even though they were back in during the Roman Empire time. because they understood one thing, and that one thing they understood was human nature, and that's something that will never change. If you can predict a human's moves and how they're going to react and be, you can predict them for forever. That's why philosophers from back then are so relatable today, because they just understood human nature, and through observation, they understood this is how people are, this is how people will be, this is how people will act. And so if I can teach them to just not do that, then they can live a better, more peaceful, calm life. That's literally Stoicism.
Bars. Hope you took notes on that.
Yeah, facts.
No, because, and growing up, right, I was very much a hothead. You were very much not. And the opposing dynamics were always interesting, because it was like I couldn't understand until I got older, like how this motherfucker was so calm in certain situations. And I'm no saint now. Like, I definitely have so much work to do. But there's many moments where I could have gotten angry, and I was like, there's no point to it.
Yeah.
Like, if I sit here and give them what they want, I'm going to just sit here and lose. And that thought process, and I'm telling you, as somebody who naturally is a hothead, it's such a fucking game changer. You start feeling better about yourself. Like, it's when you see other people act out and you don't, it's like,
to be honest, it makes, at least for me, it makes me feel more powerful. It gives me a sense of like more power. It gives me that sense of like, if I hypothetically was like in a crime family, I'd be like the main person, because my ability to control emotion. I'd be like the Thomas Shelby of the family, where I'm like, I'm going to do shit. I'm just going to plan it out.
yeah.
I'm just not going to act it out right in front of your face right now like you want me to. It's like, oh, okay. You crossed me there. Got you. And then 3 months later, when you think you're fucking walking all over me and you completely forgot about it, and I'm like, you remember this? I'm fucking like, or remember me? It's Benny Blanco from the Bronx. Bah! Carlito's way. That's my mentality towards it. It's like, okay.
It's like noted.
Yeah.
I'll make notes.
Yeah. And another thing, a part of just being like stoic and all of that stuff, is yes, controlling the emotion, and just part of controlling the emotion too is revenge, right? Seeking revenge can be very weak, right? Like, so let's say, for example, I use the example of relationships, because that's when you kind of see it the most. Like, a relationship happens, let's say one person gets done dirty, right? The other person typically tries to go out of their way. So let's say a guy is cheating on the girlfriend finds out, breaks up with him, feels bad. The girl goes out, starts partying or whatever she does, starts sleeping with a bunch of men, does it in a way where now she's coming off as a hoe and thinks, oh yeah, I'm getting back at him. It's like, no, you're making yourself look worse. You're proving his point as to why he treated you the way he did, because now you're showing to him that you actually were less of a woman, even though you may not have been, but you're dropping down.
Yeah.
Versus if you just use that to fuel something better, he's going to be like, damn, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, nah, I'm good. Vice versa. Girl does a guy dirty. Guy goes out, tries to fuck her friend, does everything, right? It's like, okay, what'd you get out of that? Maybe it worked out. Maybe not. If anything, you probably just made yourself look weak, because you're showing how hurt you are and how soft you've become, and how much she actually controlled you and your emotions, which means she controlled your life. However, if you just go ghost, she knows nothing about you, and then 6 months later to a year, all of a sudden, you're fucking crushing it in whatever it is that you decided to do, whether it's fitness, finances, social media, whatever the case may be. Now all of a sudden you're crushing it because you just locked in, you got focused, and you use that energy for something positive to build yourself up versus trying to stoop down to their level for revenge. Then shit changes, because then they try to come back and you're like, nope, I'm good. And now you feel like the fucking man, or now you feel like the fucking woman. Like, shit, I got my shit together. I'm on my shit. This is how you do it. But if you act off your emotion and just seek revenge, and not only seek the revenge, but try to make sure they see that you're seeking the revenge, you live a miserable fucking life.
Yeah.
It's just misery because you're not actually happy when you're doing it, and you're just doing it to get back at somebody to hurt their emotions, but all you're doing is hurting your own emotions. So it's so stupid, all because you can't control your emotion to just be like, cool, you're just never gonna hear from me again. Ghost. That's it.
Silence is the
Yep.
best revenge.
You have no longer have access to my life ever again. You can watch it from the outside view. That's as close you're gonna get to it though. And that's it. It's all about understanding the emotions. And that's when I say I feel like I have more power. Because then you can show somebody, oh, what you did, even if it really did destroy you, you don't show them that it destroyed you. And they're going to be like, what the fuck? And then they're going to start self-reflecting. They're going to feel shittier about themselves, feel like an asshole, all those things. It's like somebody commenting like hateful shit or saying mean things to you. You'd be like, have a great day, man. You know what? I can tell you're going through something. I'm sorry that's happening to you. I just hope you have a wonderful, beautiful day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Or if it's in the comments, whatever, and you keep it pushing. And they'll probably say something else. And then when they get home at night, they're probably going to cry their eyes out because they're like, fuck, I'm such an asshole. I'm depressed. My life's shit. It's like, well, yeah, imagine. Look how you're acting, bro. What do you expect?
You're literally taking it out on the world.
Yeah.
And that is a very, very miserable life to live.
100%. 1,000%. But again, I think the key is, I know the main topic is masculine men with feminine emotions. This can also apply to just anyone, but really hone in and like focus on just controlling your emotions. Obviously easier said than done, but you got to try and you got to start, because I don't care if you have if you're the biggest dude on the block, the most badass motherfucker, you'll fight anybody and anyone. If you continue reacting off emotions, you're going to end up in two places. That's in jail or dead. And if you're lucky, you don't end up in either, but the odds are not in your favor. So pick up a book from Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, read about Stoicism. Go on YouTube and just listen to Stoicism quotes. Listen to the book on YouTube. Listen to Seneca.
Like $8 you can spend.
Yeah, it's not even that expensive. And not only that, you could just look up like Stoicism on YouTube and a million videos will come up. Just start understanding it, learning it, and putting it to practice more than anything, because if you can master Stoicism, you can master your life. And once you understand that and master that, you realize how stupid so many things are and how much better your quality of life becomes. So that's that.
That was so well said. G Poppy over here spitting.
Anything you got to say? Anything else you want to touch on that maybe we didn't?
If you are this person who acts out of emotion, a tip I would give to you is, one, understand what causes these emotions, right? Because it's not the same for everybody, right? Some people might be insecure and easily trigger themselves when it comes to people talking about their body, right? Some people may have issues at home that are easily triggered because somebody called you a bitch or something. Like, who knows, right? Understand what causes you to act out, like what causes your blood to boil. Figure out why that thing is happening and just start like figuring yourself out about that. Like, dive into yourself, and while doing that, do what he said. While you're tearing pages out of the book of these things that trigger you, replace them with people like Marcus Aurelius or like their teachings, because you can literally take old pieces of you out and put new pieces in. Like, you have the choice to do that every single day. And maybe it's not something like that really, like, by that I mean, like, maybe you don't have the issue of getting triggered easily, but when you get mad, like, you're a fucking raging machine, right? Because that's a lot of people. To that person, I would say, when you are that angry, learn how to speak to yourself, like you said. And that's a very difficult thing to learn if you just act off of emotion. You literally can't. But when you feel yourself getting that angry, because I get it, like starts in like the chest, right? Or the hands get a little hot, right? Start asking yourself, what is causing me to feel this way? And am I in danger? That's what did it for me. I would get time like, am I even in danger right now? And you realize, no, like, there's literally nothing threatening me right now. Why do I feel the need to be this aggressive? That was a personal one for me. It's just, am I in danger right now? 9.99999 times out of 10, the answer is no.
Yeah.
And once you start like talking to yourself like this and having these realizations, obviously it's not a quick process, but it starts dying down a little. You'll get angry again, and you just realize like, nah, there's no point. Like nobody's pressing me. Like there's no point for me to get that tight. And then that no point for me to get that tight turns into somebody walking up to you and you're just like, yo, have a good day, boss. Like, take care. It's a slow process, but the process doesn't get started unless you get started, unless you start having these tough conversations with yourself. When you see a happy ass couple and you're like, why am I so like, or this is another one. If you see a happy ass couple and be like, he don't deserve her, right? Or she could do better.
You got the hater syndrome.
Start diving into that, because all our little flaws are just hints at things we need to fix in ourselves. Everybody, I hate the fucking saying where it's like, you gotta accept me as I am. Yeah. No, bitch, fix yourself. Like,
yeah, I don't gotta accept shit.
Yeah, that ass. Like, at the end of the day, you are you, yes, but you are also like you're the mechanic for yourself. Like, you can fix anything about you that you want to fix. Hence this entire fucking episode. Maybe it's not your anger. Maybe it's you cry a lot or you get sad easily, right? Cool. Dive into that. Figure out what's making you so sad. Because most of the time, it's just a conversation you've been pushing off that you know you need to have with yourself. Like, for example, I'm a guy, right? Most guys, I think, are just genuinely so sad because they're not building themselves. They're not working on themselves. They've taken the pill of, this is just how I am. Which, especially if you're a guy, that shit don't apply. Life is going to punch you hard. But dive into these things. Start taking tallies, taking notes. Why do I get so mad every time, I see a happy couple? Or why do I get so mad every time I see like people with nice things, right? And I saw this on TikTok one time, and I've recommended it to people, and the people that have done it I haven't done it myself personally, but people who have done it have given me good reviews of it. But it's like, if you get tight about, I keep using this example, but like, let's say you get tight because a beautiful couple walked down the street. Ask yourself why, and when you write down your answer, ask yourself why again, and do that 7 times. By the 7th why, you will uncover why you actually are tight about something. Because you're not tight because they're a happy couple. You're tight because you were fucking neglected love as a kid type shit. Like, that's what I mean by dive into it. Dive into it. Dive deep. Put that shit to rest. Replace that with the negative that you learned. Replace it with a positive, like a good teacher, like Marcus Aurelius. Listen, these people are widely regarded in history for a reason. Their works are still relevant today, like you said, for a reason.
Yep.
Like,
they weren't no Nostradamus. They couldn't tell the future, predict the future. They just understood human nature. Once you understand human nature, you can predict human behavior and what's going to happen. And so then you understand how civilizations will pan out 2,000 years from now. So another thing too, like I hear a lot of people say that frustrates me. The minute I hear somebody say this, I'm like, I don't know if I want to be your friend. Or at least I don't want to be, you're not going to be in my inner circle, at least, is the one they say, I hate people. Okay. Take that pessimistic, negative ass mindset that way, bro. Why do you hate people? Do you actually hate people, or do you just hate yourself? Why do you hate yourself? Why are you depressed? The majority of people that are emotional people and act off emotion tend to be depressed, anxious, and have all these things. And it's because they never choose to work on it or fix it. The best thing that could ever happen to you is going to sound crazy, but just let me explain. The best thing that could happen to you is to become depressed at some point, or depressed at some point. It's to believe that you are depressed at some point, because that is literally the world, your body, literally every single thing possible is telling you, hey, we don't like what you're doing right now. Please do something different, because we don't like it. That's why you're feeling this way. So that's literally your body telling you, okay, hold on, time out. Me saying I hate people, me getting mad at beautiful couples walking down the street, me lashing out on people that are strangers that have absolutely nothing to do with my personal life and taking it out on them, me getting road rage, all these things, they're making me such a negative person. And my body, and then I go home and I'm depressed, I cry, I have anxiety, I have all these things. Stop trying to point the finger at somebody else. Stop trying to say, oh, it's because of childhood trauma or my parents' fault because of how they treat me. No. Sure, that could have happened. But it's your responsibility now to change those actions. You can't control what happens to you, but it's your responsibility to control what happens after it happens to you. So you need to take that feeling of depression, anxiety, all these things, and realize, oh, okay, whatever I'm doing right now, however I'm living my life right now, whatever thoughts I'm having, my pessimistic views, my negative views towards the world, clearly is not working out for me, because I'm not any happier. If anything, I'm worse. So that's literally a signal to like, okay, let me go do something different. I have the answer. I know it's not this answer, so it can only be another answer, which is to do the opposite. You have the answer. Just go do it. Obviously, I understand it's easier said than done, but most people don't want to accept that. They just rather point the finger at somebody else because it's less work. And it's true. Then you end up having emotions that you can't control and a life that you can't control, and you're surrounded by other people who can't control them. You end up in situations that you shouldn't be in or are extremely avoidable. And you either end up in jail, incarcerated, constantly in drama. There's always just chaos or drama or something going on in your life. It's never just one level playing field of peace. And it's because you do it to yourself. So listen to your body, man. It tells you when something's not right, it'll tell you it's not right.
I do have a closing.
There you go.
And I'm stealing a Gianni bar here. To those people that hate, to the people that just say, I hate people, you don't fucking hate people. You hate what the world is reflecting back onto you.
Yep.
And it's most likely shit that you're putting out into the world. Gianni Rosado, 2023.
Yes.
That's gonna be on somebody's works cited one day.
But yeah. Anyways, those are my closing thoughts. I know the main message of the episode is about masculine men with feminine emotions, but this kind of applies to everyone. But if you're a man, please listen closely to what we said, because being emotional is not going to get you anywhere good in life or great at the minimum. But listen to your body. If you're not happy, if you're not any of the things, if you're too emotional, something is wrong that you need to fix. So you need to take the time to fix that and do something different. So anyways, those are my closing thoughts. That being said, that's episode 49. Again, we're only 3 weeks away from the 1 year mark. So please make sure to like, comment, and more than anything, subscribe. Please subscribe. We want 100 subscribers within the next 3 weeks. We're in somewhere in the 80s. I think 81 right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Last I saw was 84.
Okay, 84. So we need 16 more. So let's get those 16 more these next 3 weeks. Share it with all your friends and family. Share this podcast, this episode, with anyone you think can benefit from it. and let's keep it going. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Peace.